I'm reading. I'm reading. I read. I read. I will read. I will read. Did you read? Did you read? I didn't read it. I didn't read it.
I am reading a book. I am reading a book.
I am reading the news. I am reading the news.
I read a comic book. I read a comic book.
I read my homework. I read my homework.
I will read the letter. I will read the letter.
I will read the text. I will read the text. Did you read Korean books? Did you read Korean books? Did you read the English book? Did you read the English book?
I don't read books. I don't read books.
She doesn't read comics. She doesn't read comics.
I'm reading my homework. I'm reading my homework.
I am reading a poem. I am reading a poem.
I read my sister's letter. I read my sister's letter.
I read a message. I read a message.
I will read a novel. I will read a novel.
I will read the Myanmar book. I will read the Myanmar book.
Did you read neighbor news? Did you read neighbor news?
Did you read the English book? Did you read the English book?
I don't read webtoons. I don't read webtoons.
I don't read a message. I don't read a message. I am reading a cooking book. I am reading a cooking book. We are reading a comic book. We are reading a comic book. They are reading poetry. They are reading poetry. He is reading a fiction book. He is reading a fiction book. She is reading a cooking book. She is reading a cooking book. We read magazine. We read magazine. He reads science fiction. He reads science fiction. She reads a book at home. She reads a book at home. I read the message yesterday. I read the message yesterday. Father read the newspaper yesterday. Father read the newspaper yesterday. Yoon-shi read a mystery book yesterday. Yoon-shi read a mystery book yesterday. I will read my textbook at 8 p.m. I will read my textbook at 8 p.m. We will read the Korean grammar book. We will read the Korean grammar book. He will read the English book tomorrow. He will read the English book tomorrow. Yura will read a fiction book. Yura will read a fiction book. I don't read a thriller book. I don't read a thriller book. They don't read a fiction book. They don't read a fiction book. He doesn't read the message. He doesn't read the message. She doesn't read poetry. She doesn't read poetry. I didn't read a thriller book. I didn't read a thriller book. Miho didn't read a fiction book. Miho didn't read a fiction book. We won't read the message. We won't read the message. Yuri won't read poetry. Yuri won't read poetry. Do you read a thriller book? Do you read a thriller book? Do they read a fiction book? Do they read a fiction book? Does he read the message? Does he read the message? Does she read poetry? Does she read poetry? Did they read a thriller book? Did they read a thriller book? Did Minho read a fiction book? Did Minho read a fiction book? Will you read the message? Will you read the message? Will you read poetry? Will you read poetry?
What are you reading? What are you reading?
I am reading a Korean book. I am reading a Korean book.
Did you read the news? Did you read the news?
No, I didn't read the news. No, I didn't read the news.
When are you going to read comic books? When are you going to read comic books?
I will read them tomorrow. I will read them tomorrow.
Did you read the letter I gave you? Did you read the letter I gave you?
No, I haven't read it yet. No, I haven't read it yet.